Hey lunatics! This reading is for anyone who identifies with or is interested in the Leo energy during October 2018, more specifically the second half of October 2018. Now, I'm so sorry, Leos, that I could not get a reading out for you before mid-month, and I know we're even running late with that at this point. It's the 18th now, technically. I have been moving, so please excuse me. I do apologize. Temperance is your first card out. And I have a couple of things left to say to you before we jump into the reading itself, Leo. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Those of you who do, I really appreciate it. Welcome. And I already apologized to you. And then I just really very quickly wanted to tell you about the free readings and seasonal readings. Free readings, I'm working on them. I have to stop taking requests for a while, and I will catch up and get the readings to those of you who have been respectful while waiting for your free readings. Those are coming. And I did put seasonal readings up for everyone already. So I'm running late with your October reading, but you have a Libra love reading, Libra season love reading, which I will link below since we still have a few days left in Libra season in case love messages are specifically what you are looking for at this time. Temperance, the Ten of Swords, and the Magician so far, Leo. Sorry, I'm looking for the camera because I'm using my phone now to try to have sound and video syncing up, and at least that's working. And the other reading is an autumn season 2018 reading, which will take you into December, of course, and I will link that for you below as well, Leos. It is a fire sign reading, and then you can find your individual reading time-stamped. Oh, I'm so glad that's the last time I have to say that to a sign this month. These intros are too long. Okay, let's get right into it. I know you can't really see these cards at all. I'm sorry. I will hold them up for you, Leo. I hope this music isn't too loud either. Okay, so with Temperance crossed with the Ten of Swords, what are we feeling? Forgiveness may be paramount. Forgiveness may be at the center of this reading and the main focus of your last 2 weeks, or a significant part of the last 2 weeks of October for you. It looks like you or someone close to you has reason to regret what has transpired in the recent past. There's a need for forgiveness currently. And at the same time, that's the end of the situation. There was regret in the recent past over something that was very painful for someone involved. Again, you or someone close to you. And now, though you are, it looks like, finding forgiveness for yourself or the other person or vice versa, it's the end of the situation. It's a very painful ending to a negative cycle. And the root of the situation is the Eight of Wands. So this is because of acting too quickly. It's because of, I'm sorry, I'm still looking for the camera this whole time. But this is because of acting too quickly. This is because of rushing into something, perhaps. A miscommunication because you were rushing through something. Because always notice the letter that the Raven, I believe, is carrying there in the corner. And you see that she's about to, she doesn't see him coming, right? And so she's about to maybe take him and the message that he's carrying out before she receives it. So in the root of the situation, the foundation of what's going on in these last 2 weeks for you, someone acted very quickly, spoke very quickly, communicated harsh feelings very quickly, and it resulted in a miscommunication. It resulted in regret. You are finding forgiveness for this person or yourself, or both of you, whomever needs it, or multiple people in the situation. I'm not sure exactly. We'll get clarifiers. Two of Cups in your inner world. When your ego is quiet, in your crowning thoughts, you have the energy of the Magician. So this is possibly Aries energy, sometimes Gemini energy. It can be that it was an Aries and or Gemini that you had a spat with, a disagreement with, an outright split with, rooted in a miscommunication in the past, and that's where the forgiveness is, or whom the need to forgive is attached to. Again, whether it's you forgiving yourself or forgiving them. I think that it's you're forgiving them, and finding forgiveness for someone doesn't necessarily mean that your friendship or relationship or partnership, whatever it is, continues, and it doesn't look like it does. It's that forgiveness is the final act, and I can feel that all through my body as I say it, and that is actually lovely. That the last interaction will be forgiveness, at least for a time, until if you come back toward one another, later on, you will have left things in that healthy space. And even if you don't, you will be glad that you did. And if it was an Aries or a Gemini, it looks like they're still on your mind. That's still who you're thinking about in your crowning thoughts. If it's not an Aries or a Gemini, your card showing on the bottom of the deck, which actually showed when I was recording, or before recording, when I was meditating and shuffling with the deck. But if it's not an Aries or a Gemini that's in your mind when your ego is quiet, when maybe your bruised ego is quiet, you still miss them. But if it's not an Aries or a Gemini, then someone who embodies Aries or Gemini qualities, possibly. Or we're talking about when your ego is quiet, and you're not still caught up in the regret and the pain from this possible miscommunication that's happened. Oh, I'm sorry. There's an advertisement playing. I didn't think that would happen. Okay. Then what you know there is that you have all of the tools that you need to manifest what you want. But you just don't know exactly what that is at this time. In your inner world, you're still feeling committed to someone, and I'm assuming the person that you've just had this disagreement with, the person that you're forgiving, and yet that things are finished with, for most Leos during these 2 weeks. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic partnership. The Two of Cups does often speak of love understood. It could be a family member who you can't live with anymore. It could be a roommate that you have to leave behind, a good friend who's betrayed you, a boss or coworker who is actually has caused such a ruckus for you at work, such a negative situation that you're actually leaving that entire place behind. For a lot of Leos, it is a romantic partner, though, because I see cups and cups twice here. But I also see swords twice, and the King of Swords is in your near future. So, if it is a Gemini, it looks like I see the potential for them to come back around in the near future, Leos. If that Magician on your mind is a Gemini, if you're still thinking about them when your ego is quiet, you're finished with the way things were, you're finished with having maybe that relationship particularly with them, but they are showing back up in the near future. So in the next week, I would say, contacting you or coming around. If it's not a Gemini or an air sign that we're talking about, or someone who embodies air sign qualities, the air signs are Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, of course, and someone who embodied those energies would be someone very intellectual, very cerebral, a thinker, someone who communicates very well, the type of person who would be or could be a very sound lawyer or judge, very analytical, also very honest, very forthright. If it's not an air sign, if it's not a Gemini though, and even if it is, this King of Swords in the near future can be absolutely be you stepping into that energy yourself, whether male or female. And that may be the case, that you have to approach leaving this situation behind you, moving on after this painful ending that we've already seen. It may be that you have to approach it from a very analytical point of view, because if you bring your emotions into it, you probably still feel tender. Someone's feelings are hurt. Something valuable was lost. In fact, you don't feel like you have as much left as you feel like you lost, right? Sorry, I'm getting a message on my phone about the recording, and I'm just making sure it's still going. So yeah, if you bring your emotions into it, it absolutely could make you change your mind about the decision for this ending to be final, just make you too emotional, remind you that you still do feel committed to this person, this situation in some way, in your heart. And so I think because you know you need to be done in some way, either with this energy in general, or at least with interacting with that energy the same way that has offended you and hurt you, right? And so you are balancing your emotions in your practical mind. We see that in the Temperance card as well. And again, although you are bringing, I hope, forgiveness to the situation, and I think forgiveness to the situation, you're going to move through the next couple of weeks, or at least the next week or so, with thinking with your head and not your heart, because your emotions can only cause you to question a decision that you've already made, that you know needs to be made. And that's not to say that you have to be harsh or cold with this person, in order to be reasonable and logical about the fact that there isn't space for them or that type of behavior, that type of interaction in your life at this time or anymore, depending on the severity of what we're talking about. You know, it could be a lot more serious for some than others. And it looks like, okay, for those of you that we were talking about, again, namely a Gemini, but it could be either of the other air signs as well. It looks like you are hoping for them to come charging back in recklessly. Well, that's not fair, is it? This is hopes and or fears. And often we're hoping for the very thing we're fearing. And that may be the case for some, but for others of you, it's one or the other. And normally it's a little more clear than this, but I think in this situation it's split. I think some of you are, in spite of your better judgment, hoping for that Gemini energy or air sign energy or airy energy to come rushing back in with something else to say about the situation, while others of you are fearing that they will rush back in and cause you to question this decision about it being a final ending that you've already made here. And like I said, for some it's both, especially if it's a romantic situation. For some of you, it's both. Now, if it's not, again, if it's not a Gemini or an air sign energy that you're dealing with primarily, this can absolutely be representing an energy that you are hopeful or fearful to move into. I think that you're hopeful to display utilize his determination. He's a very, very determined energy. He brings conviction to his charge. And I think you're hoping to use that part of his energy. The flip side, though, and it's certainly relevant if he shows up reversed, is that he can be a little reckless. Reckless in his words, his communications, even his own thoughts, because he's moving through them so quickly, trying to make progress in the ways of thinking and speaking so quickly that he can be reckless. And so at the same time that you're hoping for his determination and conviction regarding this ending, you're afraid, rightly so, fearful that you may try to rush through the process so quickly that it doesn't stick. And you are in a place of celebration. You're in an environment that is encouraging celebration. You've got friends around you, whether you just, again, left a work situation, a roommate situation, a job situation, whatever had this painful ending, you're met with these friendly energies to celebrate with around you. And since it was a very emotional and painful split, I will put a word of caution in about drinking too much, drowning your sorrows. But of course, if someone's going to do that, they're going to, right? And overall, this is a gain. You are gaining something. This is the overall energy and message for the reading. The Five of Pentacles reversed. You aren't in need of anything right now, and you are actually gaining something by losing this. Either this person just didn't treat you right and doesn't need to be in your life, and you are gaining space in your life to invite in friendlier energies, which it looks like you're already celebrating with some friends. And that's why I think that card also says you're not in need of support. You have people around you to help you and take care of you, to lift your spirits and hopefully not offer you too many spirits, right? And I mean that every time, not too many. Too much is too much, right? That's what I hope we avoid, you avoid Leos. I don't actually have any significant Leo in my chart. And the outcome of the situation is success. True success. The Seven of Pentacles is represents a place where a person still has some work left to do. It's normally an easy stretch of work, the last bit of work. It's a work that this person can still choose not to do. They can grow complicit. But it is success by definition. If one is to complete that last stretch of work, they would be in the act of succeeding, right? And so it looks like you get what you want in this situation. Whatever it is that you want out of the situation that I've just described, it looks like you get what you want. It's not what you thought it would be. It doesn't feel the way you thought it would feel. So you're having a success financially, perhaps. You're gaining financially at this time, perhaps. But you can't share it with this person or these people that you've just left behind after this painful ending. And in that way, it's not what you thought it would be. Or if it has nothing to do with your finances at all, it can be saying, or it can be saying that you've had success in this situation. If you wanted them to come back and talk to you, if you wanted another apology or another argument, you got it. If you wanted to be left alone, if you wanted them to respect your space and to have solitude as you pushed through these next 2 weeks with that cerebral, analytical approach that we were talking about, then you are awarded that. I see success for you. It's just, again, it's just a matter of no, it isn't exactly what you thought it would be. It doesn't feel exactly how you thought it would feel, maybe. But when does success, right? Leos, when does success for any of us? It's rarely ever exactly what we thought it would be. Hell, the next day, the next week, the next month is rarely ever exactly what we thought it would be. It's just that at this time, as you are very, very emotional still, and I keep saying that even though you have these two cards showing upright, you are capable of, and in the act of balancing your emotions and your practicality, and you are going to take an analytical approach to the situation in the near future. So I'm not saying that you're failing at that, but managing your emotions doesn't mean that you're not experiencing them and going through them. That's exactly what managing them means. You're not blowing up at anyone. You're not overflowing with these emotions or closing yourself off completely, but you're moving through them. You're experiencing them, and probably in private, because you want to bring an analytical approach to the interaction with this other person or these other people. But in private, you're able to do that because you're not suppressing the emotions. You're moving through them, and in a healthy way, it looks like, Leo. I would expect nothing less from you. But while you're feeling so emotional, while you're feeling a sense of regret and or loss, a need to forgive, the pain, the wound still, the raw wound from this painful ending still, it can seem magnified that your success doesn't feel as good as you wanted it to, doesn't look exactly how you thought it would, when really, like I said, hardly anything ever does turn out exactly how any of us want it to, right? Especially a success. It takes a while to get there, and by the time you do, you have either picked up energies or let go of energies along the way. You've made compromises to reach that finish line, right? More often than not. And the only reason that it would seem extra disappointing to you is because you're already in this emotional place. And that's another reason why I've mentioned foregoing celebrating by imbibing too much. Some with friends is is everyone's own choice, but we know that it's possible to take it too far sometimes. And you know, again, I might be being overly cautious in some of these messages because, again, we're looking at this card upright. So it's just that warning is for very few Leos, I think. I think there are a handful of you that need to hear it. But with every single one of your cards showing up upright, except for the Five of Pentacles, which in reverse normally says gaining something to me or not needing support, it's actually a beautiful reading. It's like you're going through something really trying and really hard, but the position that it leaves you in life, the people you have around you, the energy you're capable of stepping in to deal with it, to handle it, the success on the horizon in just the next couple of weeks, by the end of the month or beginning of November, is something for the rest of us to be envious of, in spite of the fact that you feel very much in pain at the moment. It's a crazy mix for me to connect with right now, because I can feel how hard it is for you. It's like it's like it insulted you. It's like a slap. It's almost like you could just say that really smarted, you know, like it stung. I think you didn't expect this offense from this person. Yeah. And at the same time, I can also overwhelmingly see and feel how beautiful your situation is from a more objective standpoint. How easy it is to be envious of it. Because you have the courage, the bravery, the strength to forgive them, to end it, but still forgive them, to have them on your mind and feel committed, but choose to do what you know is best for you, to use your mind over your heart in this situation when it is called for. And it's not easy. It's inspiring, honestly. I'm genuinely inspired. It's not easy for you. And no one else may know what you're going through. But you just follow that path right up to the success that you absolutely deserve. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm not even sure what I'm clarifying. Let's clarify that Magician. I don't want either of those, not because I don't like them, I'm just not feeling like that was a clarifier for that. I just want one card on the Magician. Let's see if we can hear this. Okay, one card to clarify that Magician, and then we will quickly pull a lesson card and a piece of advice, and we'll look at the bottom of this deck to see where you're headed by November, or what November looks like for you. The King of Wands. Okay, so I had said it could be an Aries or a Gemini. I definitely see a possible Aries energy here. But I also see you here, Leo, and the King of Wands, of course, the King of Fire. It could be Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. So it can be that representing the Aries, if that's your situation, if that's who you've had a spat with, it can be representing the Aries on your mind. For the rest of you, Leos, this is your own energy. As I said, when your ego is quiet, you know that you have all of the tools that you need. Even without this energy you've just left behind and feel like you've lost, to manifest whatever you want, even if you're not exactly sure what that is at this moment. And, you know, maybe getting into nature would help you to decide what that is. Or maybe that has something to do with what you want to do. The King of Wands is said to be able to call on the elements. He's just very connected to nature. Is a very sociable energy, but with all life, right? So with people, with other people, but also, you know, with nature, with the elements. We're already 30 minutes in, and I'm afraid that I don't have enough space on my phone, honestly. So I'm going to leave the clarifiers at that. I think I understand everything else in the reading anyway. And go straight into a lesson and a piece of advice for you. Although it looks like you know exactly what you're doing. Your lesson is in taking what's being offered to you at this time, accepting what's being offered to you at this time, and not allowing yourself to be too caught up in, focused on these 3 cups that you can no longer have, that are no longer available to you, that aren't an option. This is your option. This is your offer. And I'm saying it's your lesson, but you already see it. You already know it. It's not like you're missing that lesson. It's not like a warning. You're doing that. The reading tells me you're already doing that. But that is what your lesson is in. It's just like you're acing the test. You saw it coming, you're ready for it, you're acing the test. Your piece of advice is to protect your boundaries, which, again, you're already doing. I knew it would be another piece of advice you were already taking, Leos. Hold on to what you have in the way of energy, time, the protective walls you've built up around you to get through the next couple weeks, couple months, however long it takes, to make sure you don't go back on this decision. And maybe your money as well. It can be talking about guarding your any of your resources, but I primarily see your energy here. You have a great situation. You have friends supporting you. You are gaining. You do have success. And it might be, if you're in too much pain and too much regret, it may be difficult for you to see that you have a lot worth protecting and holding on to right now. And that's the beauty of you choosing this analytical approach to the situation. Your emotions may be fooling you a little bit, making you think that you don't have what you want. But your logical mind is telling you what the next step is to take, and the next, and to stay on course and not to listen to your emotions. And as I said, with the success in your outcome, it works out for you. Even if part of you is still focused on what you can't have, and even if part of you is not satisfied with what it is that you're holding on to currently, your logical mind knows that once your emotions shift about this, that won't be true anymore. You'll be glad that you laid this groundwork for yourself, that you paved the way to the success, that you saw it through, that you focused on what you were being offered and what you did have, and you valued those things that you have now and are being offered now, even when you weren't really sure you wanted to. And you're doing it. You're doing all that work already, and you're going to be very pleased about it, and you know that already. And then in November, you're ready to come out of your shell again. Not necessarily right at the beginning of the month. This is sort of an overview energy for November for you. So sometime mid-month, by the end of the month at least, you're ready to come out of a space of self-reflection and healing. that I'm sure is absolutely required for a time here. But I think you, and I think that's something else the Knight of Swords represents, is a hope that you'll move through this healing very swiftly. And with the Hermit card showing up in reverse in November, it looks like you did. For some, this situation's more severe than others. It could be a bad work situation you're happy to leave behind for some. For others, it could be a significant partnership and anything in between there, right? So of course, for some Leos, it will take a little longer to heal up than others. But I see the message that at some point in November, your energy is ready to come out of its shell. It's ready to engage socially again. You see your options, you see your directions, you see where you're headed. Awesome. I'm so sorry for those of you who are still in pain and are hurting, but I hope it makes you feel better to know that the place that you're in, it would be very easy to be envious of it in spite of that. And your healing is happening quickly because you know what you're doing, basically. I'm proud of you, Leos. And I will leave it at that. This reading's a little longer than I meant it to be, but it was a beautiful message. It felt really good to get out for you. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. And thank you for your comments, your shares, your messages, and your donations and your orders. I truly appreciate it. I'm truly grateful for each and every one of our energy exchanges. And if you are interested in a personal reading from me, Leos, just scroll down to the description of this video. You can see all the options there, or you can check out my YouTube channel. The About section has all the links, or you can just email me directly at lunartixtarot@gmail.com. I'm happy to talk to you about which type of reading you would like, which area of interest, how long you want it to be, work with you on the price if need be, etc. Free readings. Did I already apologize for free readings? I think I did. I think I already let you know about how much longer they're taking than expected. I'm getting there though. And then when I return to free readings, when I start taking requests again, I don't know that I'm going to do it the same way, actually. I'm not sure. I'll have to take some time off to finish, and then when I come back to it, it's seeming like it just needs to be approached differently. I may just do, once I get 1,000 subscribers, which we're halfway there, I think, I may just do a few lives a month where I just answer questions that way, or a few giveaway readings, or I just haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but time-wise it may need approached a little bit differently. So I will definitely make sure to square off a significant portion of each month to dedicate to answering private questions for free in some way, shape, or form. So we'll see how that shakes out. And with that, I love you very much, Leos. I loved reading for you. I hope you continue to make very wise choices throughout the rest of the month and going into next month. And I will post another tarot fix for us just as soon as I can.